Hey everybody, welcome to Ronline Report. Today's guest, haven't talked to this guy in a while, hasn't competed since last summer. He's moving up from last few shows. He was at 212, making his debut as an open bodybuilder at the Orlando Pro. Please welcome Jason Lowe. What's up, Jason?
What's going on?
So, man, let me remind everyone, I just did a preview of the show with Giles Thomas, and I forgot there were other guys who had moved up all these divisions. Brett Wilkin turned pro in Classic, never competed in Classic, 212, and now he's open. I think Stanimal is the only one he was never 212.
He was men's physique and then open.
Men's physique, did he do Classic too?
Oh, yeah, he did. He did men's physique. He did Classic for maybe 2 years and then moved to open.
He wouldn't have done 212 because he's like 6 foot or taller. But anyway, it's still cool to see people move up the divisions. I mean, theoretically, that's what the divisions are for. Especially
that's what I think.
You're young. How old are you? You're not even 30 yet, right?
Oh yeah, I get that a lot, but I'm actually 35.
Man, you could play a high school student on one of these shows if you wanted to. I was just saying, you've been growing. You know, you turned pro young. You turned pro in 2015, right?
2017, actually. I did my first ever NPC show in 2015.
Okay, so
yeah, I won the overall at my first NPC show in 2015, and then I went straight to the Universe as a light heavyweight bodybuilder. Classic wasn't out yet.
Right.
And I got like 9th place there. And then they announced Classic Physique. So that's when I switched to that. Because I was a really small light heavyweight. I shouldn't have been light heavy. Sure. I probably would have actually done much better if I had dropped down the middleweight and actually been in shape at that point.
What'd you weigh as a light heavy?
I was like 184, but it was, I could have pulled down and actually been in better shape. Sure. And done much better.
Well, let's give everyone a rundown. You've done a good amount of shows already. So as a Classic Physique competitor, 2018, you did, looks like 5 shows. You won the San Antonio Classic, took 3rd place in Tampa. You were 6th place in a show in Omaha, 4th in something called the Upper Midwest, and 11th at the Arnold Classic. You did one more year in Classic, 2019, 7th place at the Arnold, 10th place at the Indy, and the Olympia. This can't be right. Were there like, it says 28th. That can't be right.
I think there might have been more. There was at least 28 guys at the Olympia that year. It was insane.
Gotta put a cap on that. That's too many. Okay, so 2019, that was your last year in Classic. 2020, you moved to 212, did 4 shows. Tampa 11th, New York Pro 2nd place at Bo Lewis, and I remember that was a nail biter. That was down.
It was a battle. Yeah, that was a fun battle, and I loved that though, because of course I wanted to win. But that was probably the most fun I've had battling someone on stage. And then me and Bo have become really good friends ever since.
Yeah. I don't know if the score sheets, I don't know if he won with a perfect score, but sometimes the score sheets don't tell the whole story. It was very close. They worked the hell out of you guys.
I look at those score sheets sometimes though, and even if it was a neck and neck battle, that doesn't, like, everybody could have still placed the other person at first. It just could have been by a hair each person. So, even if it is a perfect score win, that doesn't mean it wasn't close.
Right. Yeah. I mean, Jose and I talked about this last week. It's exactly people just see the score sheet.
Jose FaceTimed me right after I prejudging at that New York Pro. And he's like, "You savage." He's like, "You got this." He pumped me up so much. It was awesome.
I could have given it to you or Bo. It was a coin toss. You were both.
It was definitely close.
Apples and oranges. Yeah. I don't know who was an apple, who was an orange, but they were 2 very different physiques. So you did 2 more shows that year. Chicago, you got 5th. Olympia, 11th place, just missed top 12. And then last year was your final appearance, apparently, as a 212. Tampa, 6th place, Chicago, 9th place. So was that when you decided it's time to move up? Was it hard for you to make weight? Tell me the process.
It really wasn't. I was like 207 on stage.
Okay.
Like, it was weird because I was in shape at like 215, and then just pulling water. I think we actually came in a little flat, pulled water a little too hard, and didn't fill out enough. And so I think my best look actually last year was around 215. We just didn't pull that off on stage.
Yeah.
But it was a tough season, honestly. Like, I felt like I could have placed higher in both of those shows, but the competition was really good too. I can't take anything away from the guys that placed higher. They looked amazing.
Yeah.
So it's all in the judge's eyes. You know, you can't really argue with what they see. They're the ones up there looking at you, and they're trained to do it.
I'll tell you though, they have a very tough job, because I've been up there, I'm sitting right behind them, and I can see like the gears, the smoke coming out of their ears, because sometimes it's so close. Sometimes the top three is like you could do it any which way, and it would be, you wouldn't be wrong, but you can't have a three-way tie. You got to do a first, second, third. So when someone like yourself, it sounds to some people like salty, like, oh, I could have placed higher, but many times a person could have placed higher, but they just had to do it some which way. And
when I'm not competing and I'm watching a show, I don't know how the judges do it, because I'll look and I'll be like, sometimes there's a clear winner. You're like, okay, that's going to win. These two guys might be fighting for second, third. But sometimes I'll watch a show and I'm like, okay, anyone in the top four could win.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're going to do.
Right. So, last year was a tougher season for you, because you only did those two shows. You didn't make top five in either of them. So I'm sure at the end of those two shows, I guess Tampa would have been the second one, right?
Yeah.
Tampa usually comes after. So what was your frame of mind after Tampa? You said, I'm going to move up to open, or I'm going to quit bodybuilding, or I'm going to do this. What was going through your head?
Never thought about quitting.
No.
All I thought about was making progress. Like, it wasn't really about moving up to open or leaving 212. It was just pushing myself to make as much progress as possible. I took the longest off season I've had in like 6 years, like 7-month off season. And it's sad to say that's the longest I've had in like 6 years. I haven't really given my body that much of a rest. Even as I was moving up from classic to 212, I just kept, pushing myself. I like competing, so it's hard for me to take that time off. So even this year, watching some of the earlier shows, I'm like, oh man, I wish I was on stage, but I'm fat right now. So, but I just enjoy competing. So like when they announced that Orlando Pro was back with open bodybuilding for the first time since like 2015.
Yeah.
I was like, it's 45 minutes down the road for me.
Yeah.
I can stay at my own house until a day out.
Perfect.
Drive over there, check in, and, it's kind of just a stress-free show. For one, I'm, jumping into the open division for the first time. I doubt there's any huge expectations for me.
Yeah.
So, I'm just kind of doing it and just going to bring the best package I can possibly bring and see what happens.
Yeah. So this off season, did you have those whole 7 months? Did you know you were moving up, or were you still in the back of your head thinking, I got to get down to 212 when this is all said and done?
When I hit 265,
oof,
and I still had abs.
Wow.
And some separation in the quads and stuff like, I had some back fat, and, that's the first place it comes.
Right.
But, my face was probably like this, but I still had abs. I still had some striations in the shoulders and some like separation in the quads and everything at 265. And I held that for about two and a half months. I held 265. So, I kind of had a feeling, I was like, I know I could suck down to 212 again.
Yeah.
I could do it. And I just figured with this show right here, it's a good opportunity to jump in and see how I compare next to the big guys.
Yeah.
I love the 212 division, but unfortunately it doesn't get as much respect, recognition, prestige, prize money, any of it. So if I can make my way in the open, that's definitely, I think that's everybody's when they get into bodybuilding. That's, some of the men's physique, the classic guys, they love that division, and that's where they fit and that's where they belong and they love it. But I think if you're a bodybuilder, you kind of want to be up there with the big guys.
Even the fans seem to expect it of so many fans are like, the classic guys like, he needs to go open. Bumstead, he needs to go open. It's like they're never content with anybody being in the division they're in unless it's open. Because
exactly.
That's the pinnacle.
You could move up. You could move up.
That's the top of the mountain. Yeah.
That would be ridiculous for Bumstead to stop doing what he's doing.
Please.
Still has like 8 pounds he can put on before he's at his limit.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was maxed out at my limit as soon as I turned pro. So I was my 2 years in classic physique, I was having to fast for 24 hours, sit in the sauna, like diuretics. Like, it was horrible trying to make weight.
What was your weight? What was your weight in classic? 192.
Oof.
Oh boy. Okay.
At the Olympia, I was like 208 4 days out, and just rock hard. Like, I didn't know. I was like, this is gonna suck.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And then I could never fill out. You know, when you do that much to suck down, I'm still flat on stage. I never look my best.
Yeah, there's this assumption that anybody can just eat a few bowls of rice and they're gonna blow right up. No. A lot of guys, I don't see them really fill back out for the 2 or 3 weeks after the show.
I was gonna say at least a couple days after the show, you'll finally start coming alive.
Right. So 265 that you held. What was the last time you were in that condition in an off season? I don't know how long ago this was, but what were you weighing back then?
Oh man, in the same condition in an off season,
yeah,
probably the heaviest I ever got was 240, 245.
Wow,
maybe.
Okay. Wow.
So like, it was a good off season. I felt really good. I feel like I really brought up some parts. The judges told me at the end of last year that I just needed to bring up my quads from the front and my lower lats, a little more thickness in the lower lats, and those are the two main areas I focused on. And I think I made a lot of progress with them. That's funny. I think I made the most progress on my quads, and now I'm gonna have to stand next to Hassan. It's gonna look like I got nothing.
I mean, there's Hassan and Rami are the two guys that anybody stands next to them and their legs aren't going to look that great, because those are just they're freakish.
That's what I keep telling myself. I'm like, it's not just me. It's pretty much anyone in the pros are going to have smaller legs next to those guys.
He's got some of the biggest legs. I've been around a very long time, and I've rarely seen legs like that. Rarely. I count them on one hand in 30 years. How many legs like that?
And now he finally figured out how to get in shape too.
Exactly.
He
might have a chance, this Hassan guy. He might do okay. Yeah. We're actually doing the preview, and we don't know, because Phil Clayhar, if Hassan's off and Phil is on, it could go any number of ways. But you're up there with it's not a huge lineup, but I
haven't seen the list. I have no idea who's in the show.
Oh, okay.
So
well, it's you, and you. No, what do we got? Hassan.
All I knew of was Hassan, and I think I heard Tony O'Burton was doing it.
Yeah, who was a 212 for just 2 shows. I think he just did the Indy and the Olympia, and now he's open too. So Tonio, Andrea Presti from Italy, Phil Clayhard, Jonas Giatris, who was just at the Puerto Rico, Matt Kuba, Martin Hernandez, Walter Martin, Jamil Hamilton. Come on, Ron, you can read. So yeah, it's a good quality lineup. There's some good guys.
It's not a huge lineup, but some good guys in there.
Absolutely. So I'm going to back up to the body part stuff, because a lot of people watching this, they have the same physique issues as you. Maybe they don't compete or anything, but they're still aspiring to look their best. So start with the quads. What did you do different for quads? Because that's tough to bring up for a lot of people.
I mean, a lot of it was progressive overload on the hack squat. I learned a couple years ago that barbell squats hit hamstrings and glutes almost. It's hard for me to target my quads with a barbell squat. Yeah. I still like to throw them in sometimes, because it's just a great movement for overall leg development, but the hack squat really brought it up. So my main thing was I would do just maybe 5-6 reps on the sets leading up to my heaviest set. And then I would get to the heaviest weight I could do. And I tried to hit failure somewhere between 7 and 9 reps. If I could get 10, that means next week I had to go heavier. So and then I would do one back off set where I wanted to hit failure somewhere between like 15 and 20. So I'd go heavy as can be to failure. Then I'd put some volume into it with the higher reps to really pump everything and really push them to failure at a different rep range. Then I do typically move on to a leg press from there. And that's where I'd just start having fun doing stupid things, whether it was a rest pause set. I started throwing in some FST7 sets with the leg press. Those are brutal.
Yeah.
So like, I always wanted to get at least one heavy compound exercise to really tear the muscle fibers down. And then after that, it was a lot of like just filling them with as much blood as possible.
Gotcha. Okay. lower lats, that's even more interesting because some people have high lat attachments and they're never going to build a lower lat because there is no muscle there. It's just, there's a gap, you know, just like if you have high calves or something. Do you have low insertions and you just needed to work that area?
I don't have high insertions. I have, like, if you see my back lat spread, it's full as can be, like all the way down to my waist. My lats are hanging off. But for some reason in my back double, and I don't know if it's just the way I pose or what, but it doesn't have the same effect. So I did work on my posing with that as well.
Yeah.
But a lot of it, I have 2 back days. So my first back day will be all my heavy compound movements. I'll start with a pull down, and then I'll do T-bar rows, then a chest supported T-bar row. I'll probably do another type of chest supported row, and then finish it off with maybe a little more pump work where it's maybe a superset of maybe a pullover and a row or something.
Yeah.
Then my second back day is pure lats. Like I'll do start off with a pullover to get the lats really pumped, usually a cable pullover. I've used the pullover machines. I just don't feel them. Like I want to so bad, seeing Dorian Yates do them, and I just can't get the connection on them. Yeah. But I feel a great pump with a cable pullover. And then I'll go into pretty much a single arm row, whether I would do a dumbbell, a cable, a machine, a hammer strength machine, some type of single arm row where I can really tuck the elbow in tight.
Yeah.
And then a single arm pull down where similar thing. I'm really trying to just drive that elbow down and not back at all. I almost kind of keep it in front of me. So it's really all lat. And then I'll finish with another pullover, and which will usually be like a decline dumbbell pullover.
Oh, okay.
Which is really awesome on the lats.
Yeah, I remember this. I know it's off track, but Dorian, we talked about pullovers one time, and he believed that like the Nautilus pullover was the only, and the dumbbell one. I said, "What about cable pullovers?" And he went, Pfft. He goes, "Those are too light." I go, "Too light for who? For you?"
Yeah.
I mean, typically, you can
pull the
find
whole machine over.
Yeah, I mean, we can a stack. The cable stack you use, was it go to like 250 or something?
Well, on the cable pullovers, I think they only go to 150.
Well, still, I mean, it's enough, right? It's not. Like,
yeah. Oh, well, I mean, I'll go to the stack, but it's a tough, 10 to 12 reps, and I'll usually do a drop set.
Yeah.
There, really pump them up.
Yeah, I think cable pullovers, for me, they're the best. I feel those are the best too. So, guys, Dorian's a brilliant man, but we all have different opinions and different things work for us. So,
yeah, not everything he did is going to work for you.
No, So you were, what did you weigh last year as a 212? Were you still under the limit?
Yeah, I was 207 at the Tampa Pro.
Okay. So
and I feel like that was the best package I've ever brought, but I was still a little bit flat. Like I did a photo shoot the next day at 215, and it was just every bit of conditioning was still there and just full as a house,
Said, why couldn't I have looked like this yesterday?
Isn't that always the story? But Aceto plays it very safe. He'd rather me be peeled to the bone and a little bit flat than spill over and not quite and have a film or not quite have the conditioning, so
I think that's a great strategy. It's a great gamble. I mean, we're talking about Hassan in Puerto Rico. If you've seen Hassan, and you have, know that
he was flat as can be, but it worked.
Was a very flat Hassan Mustafa.
Oh yeah,
but he won. He blew the show away.
That's what he needed to do. Everyone wanted to see something new from him. We've seen him huge.
Yes,
we needed to see him just suck down, and he did it. So I think once him and AJ actually get everything right, and they come in 5 to 7 pounds fuller, it's going to be nasty.
Yeah. And then I want to see Rami come in just shredded and dry once. Please, Rami, just once. Just once. So I was where I was getting to with that question was, I know it's Tuesday, you're depleting and you're all that, but what do you guesstimate you might come into this show at?
It's not going to be huge. We know I'm not going to be the big guy.
It's okay.
So I'll say this, I was in condition almost ready around 225, but the glutes weren't in yet. So he's pulled me down pretty hard the past 2 weeks. So honestly, if I could be 215 on stage, that's probably you know, that like where I said I was at that photo shoot last year.
Yeah.
That's probably going to be. So honestly, if I go up and I hold my own and I look like I belong with those guys, that's where I'm staying in the open.
Yeah.
For sure. That's where I want to be. If I go up there and I don't look like I quite fit in, then, you know, we got Chicago, Tampa, Texas that I can choose whether or not I want to do open or 212. This show only has open.
Right. See, I wonder if this is a crazy, no, you can't, they wouldn't let you do this, but in a weird scenario, like what if you just got into the best shape possible and you get to the show, and if you miss 212, just go open, even if you're like 213 or 214.
I don't know why they wouldn't let you do that. You know, it's obviously if it's like the Arnold or the Olympia, they're not going to let you do that. But I think at a regular open show,
yeah, of course,
I think they would let you do that if you didn't make weight. I remember one time there was a guy that didn't make weight for Classic, and they told him, well, you can do men's physique or you do open. They gave him that option at one of the shows I was doing.
So what did he do?
I think he did open and got smoked.
Well, yeah. but I mean, yeah, if you look your best at like 215, you know, on paper, these guys are 250 or whatever. But, you know, geez, look at last fall. Sean Clarita goes to Legion Sports. Sergio Oliva was like 285. Was it Regan was like 270. Sean was,
they were Sean was taller, 100 pounds bigger.
Yes, he was 170 pounds, and he just destroyed everybody. Hadi Chupan, great example. William Bonac. Hadi, I don't think Hadi is more than 225. Do you?
No, I would say it's probably around there. Yeah.
And I mean,
and he's so much dense muscle, but like everybody, I've never personally been around Hadi like face to face, but everyone that I've talked to is like, when you see him backstage, you're not really, what's this guy going to do? And then he starts posing on stage and you're like, holy crap, where'd that come from?
Yeah.
You know, so it's just so much dense muscle that I wouldn't think he's probably more than 225.
Yeah. But the point I was getting at with that is people think, oh, he was a 212. He's going to get creamed in the open. So many. William Bonac was a 212. I mean,
yeah.
Flex Lewis, had he not retired, I think he would have destroyed people in the open.
I would have loved to see that.
I mean,
Flex Lewis was one of them. Like, he was one of my first inspirations in the sport. Like, I would have loved to see him move up to the open, but you know, he's got his priorities. And I don't know. I think eventually, if I could be on stage around that 225, 230 mark, that's where I would actually look my absolute best.
Okay.
So we'll see how this season goes.
Yeah.
And then I might take a good off season and really try and push more towards that 225, 230 on stage.
Because right now,
because I think with my structure, I don't need to be 250 on stage. I think I would actually look worse probably if I tried to push up to that. I have a really small waist. You know, I don't want to lose that. And, you know, I think with just my frame and my structure, 225, 230 would be about the best I could look.
I mean, I think we're going to see in the coming years, some of the best open guys are going to be guys who moved up from classic at some point, because they still have the aesthetics, the structure, the shape. And now if they just fill it out and keep those proportions, you know, we're going to see a whole new era of great aesthetic bodybuilders coming up. We're already seeing people like Samson Dauda. We're seeing a lot of good aesthetics.
I was exactly who I was thinking of. I was like, you know what? In some of these shows, I feel like I can hold my own with my structure, my symmetry, coming in peeled to the bone. But then you get somebody like Samson, if he comes in peeled to the bone, he's got the structure and symmetry at 300 pounds.
Yeah. Well, you don't have to worry about him yet. Not yet.
Yeah.
Eventually you'll run into him, but not this weekend. So, man. So Chris Cito's your coach. Do you have anyone else on your team like that helps you out with whatever posing or anybody you want to acknowledge?
No, I kind of I do everything myself for the most part. I mean, my training partner, Jordan Wise, he just moved down here after turning pro at Nationals last year. So, you know, we've been pushing each other. He's in his off season to make his pro debut next year. And he's helped push me when I feel like crap on certain days. And then, you know, there's a good group of people around here in the community and the NPC as far as putting on posing seminars and stuff like that. And I usually go help out with those. I was lucky enough to the last one we did in Jacksonville. Dexter Jackson actually sat down with me and helped and ran me through the poses, and we posed for a while and stuff like that. He gave me some critique and feedback. So that was really cool.
Yeah, geez, Dexter Jackson, come on.
Oh, yeah. It was a great posing seminar. We had Dexter, Justin Compton. We had, there was Sonny was there, the wellness.
Sonny Andrews.
There was a figure pro there, bikini pro. Like, it was a great group of, and then of course, you had all the judges and promoters and stuff too. So it was a good turnout. There was a good 150 something people there at least.
Yeah, you have a great bodybuilding scene down in Florida. It's so many shows and workshops, and it's just like a more of a community feeling, as opposed to other parts of the country don't seem to be as united or close, I guess you'd say. But
I remember that's why Kamal said he wanted to move here, because he was like, when he was visiting his sponsors last year or the year before, and he was like, man, there's something every weekend in Florida.
Yeah.
He couldn't really promote himself over where he was because nothing's ever happening.
Right. You remember back when there were a lot of magazines, this is way back, Florida had so many shows. There was actually it was more of a news tabloid, but it was called Florida Muscle News, because there was so much crap going on in Florida. They needed a whole magazine just to cover it. That's something.
Yeah, it's pretty insane. Sometimes there's freaking 4 or 5 amateur shows in one weekend down here.
Yeah. So I'm curious, have you gotten, you have a good fan base. What have some of them been saying about you going open? Are they excited?
They are. Yeah. I've been really appreciative for all my my followers, and I feel weird saying fans, but they've been amazing. Whether it's on my YouTube comments or on Instagram, just they're pumped to see me get up there and bring my best. And I think some of them are a little too overconfident for me. They're like, oh, you're going to win this show hands down. You got this. And I'm like, I want to, that's the goal, but I don't think they understand how big some of these other guys are.
That's great. I'm glad that you and other guys have fans that are that loyal and devoted. That's how other sports are. There are teams that haven't won like a Super Bowl or a championship in like decades, but their fans are just diehard, rabid to the day they die. They're gonna love that team or certain players. So, I'm glad that you guys get that kind of support, because you work so hard.
Yeah.
You should get that kind of support, and people believe in you.
I really do appreciate it when I get those comments and stuff like that, and it does pump me up too. It's like I'm a very realistic person. Like I have realistic expectations. Yeah. But at the same time, I don't really let myself believe in limits. So whatever I do this time, I know I can do better. Yeah. I will always continue to force myself to bring something better each time. Yeah. So whatever happens this time, I'm going to bring my best, and then I know I can bring something even better next time.
Yeah. I mean, I've only known you a few years, but you've been making progress all the time. It's been very steady. Some guys I see for years, they always look the same. The weak body parts never get better. Their conditioning, they never figure it out. It's more encouraging to see someone like you that keeps moving up, keeps progressing. Clearly you're listening to criticism and taking it to heart, and instead of just being bitter about it like some people. You don't know what you're looking at. You've worked very hard. Worked very hard, and I'm happy for you. I'm very excited to see how you do in the show. Regardless of
I'm
how
excited
you do,
too.
I just want to see how you look as an open. I'm really, really eager to see this extra muscle tissue on you, because the shape.
I'm excited too. I hope, I told you earlier today when we were texting, like I'm flat and depleted as can be right now, which, it's Tuesday. That's how you should feel.
Right.
But I'm excited to see what it looks like when we actually start filling out, drying out, and just everything starts clicking and everything's, as close to 100% as possible.
Yeah. I'm still checking on the pay-per-view. I haven't seen any news yet, but it's Tuesday. Sometimes they don't release that info until like Wednesday or Thursday, because I want to watch the show.
I hope they have a live stream. I don't know why they wouldn't. I feel like every show should have a live stream now.
Most of them do. It's rare that they don't, but a lot of times it's like a last minute announcement or something.
Puerto Rico didn't, did they?
No, they didn't.
Yeah, I was shocked. Yeah, especially since that's a location not that many people can travel to. You'd think they would have got a lot of views on the pay-per-view.
You would think. I mean, we're all scrolling through Instagram trying to find like video clips and pictures. Like, who's there? Who's there? But, oh well. Hopefully this is it, because I want to watch this. I want to see you, Hassan. I want to see all you guys duke it out, man. Looks like it's going to be a good show.
I'm excited.
So that's it. Orlando Pro happening this Saturday. Jason Lowe, Classic 212, now Open Pro. Can't wait to see what you have in store for us, Jason. I wish you the
bringing my best.
Very best of luck. Follow him on Instagram, guys. IFBB_Broku, BROKU. It's from Dragon Ball Z, right?
Yeah, it's a Dragon Ball Z reference.
Yeah. Oh, I was like Bugs Bunny, so that's a little past.
That was my original motivation to work out, was Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, that's Broly. Was Broly the big dude?
Broly. So a quick explanation of the Broku.
Yes.
In Dragon Ball Z, two people can fuse together to create a stronger person. Okay. So the main character, Goku, is one of the strongest people in the universe. And then Broly is the massive muscle, strong, but like, so if you fuse them together, Broly and Broku.
Oh, I never. Thank you.
Strongest in the universe.
Because my son used to watch it many years ago. He's 20, almost 23. And I remember there was a Broly and there was a Goku. So I'm like, what the hell? Who's Broku? I thought you just made it. It's made that up. It's never actually
happened in the show. I just made that up.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So
it's never actually happened in the show. Like Goku and Vegeta have fused together. Other characters have fused together, but Goku and Broly have never fused together. So I was like, if they did, that would be just insanity. So, because they're the two strongest people in the show.
Absolutely. And that thing behind you that's that awesome artwork of you. That kind of looks like something out of Dragon Ball Z. You tilt that up.
Yeah, it's that's actually one of the villains' poses. But
that's not what I consider your signature pose, though.
Which one is?
I don't want to do it because my arms are like tiny, but the crucifix pose with your arms outstretched.
Oh yeah.
To me, that's like, that shot of yours is money right there.
Thank you.
Just do that shot. Yeah, for sure. Have that in your routine a couple times. I'm sure you do. So yeah, again, I wish you very good luck, Jason. Everybody, hopefully there'll be a pay-per-view. We can check them out. But in the meantime, very excited to see your debut in the open class this weekend, Jason. So
thank you. I'm excited. Appreciate you having me on again.
Absolutely. Everybody, thanks for watching. Subscribe to the channel, like, share, comment, do all that good stuff. Hit the notification bell. We appreciate it. Thanks for watching Ronline Report with Jason Lowe. We'll see you next time.